I'm Sebastian. I'm along with Linda and Robert, the co-founder of Tertulia and the CEO. Before I did this, I started another kind of online platform in the culture space called Artsy, which is now like the largest online art marketplace. So I have a real kind of history and kind of passion for creating platforms for creative people to reach larger audiences. Um, and we were able to do that with Artsy, which is now a platform that most galleries are on, and gets millions of art collectors and art lovers on the platform, etc. Um, and the reason I bring that up, in addition to kind of introduction and background around about me, is that, as many people know, we've recently launched the Pro Plan. And if you think of kind of the Tertulia standard or basic, which is not a good word, but our kind of standard plan is, kind of a website with functionality for like a newsletter and kind of customizing the website, etc. The Pro Plan is really intended for people who want the tools to really market and sell their books. So if the website is kind of like your online home and kind of a presence, and to present yourself in a professional way, uh, Pro is tools that allow you to do marketing and sales. So, most notably with e-commerce, so the ability so far to sell digital books as well as to do like author self-fulfilled print books, as well as marketing, and most notably with the mailer functionality. So the ability to send emails to all your readers, book buyers, etc. Um, and so on the Pro Plan, wanted to give like a couple of quick updates. One is we're obviously building as fast as possible to make significant enhancements. I think the biggest thing, the biggest focus right now, and we've got stuff coming up within the next 2 weeks, are improvements to the mailer. Uh, and so, removing some of the limits or increasing limits so you can send to larger size audiences, so you can segment your list and search your list in better ways. So, keep an eye out for that for sure. We're also, making changes so that you will be able to do on the e-commerce side, you'll be able to do merchandise sales in addition to your books. And I know some people have kind of hacked it to do that, but to allow that kind of natively and kind of more seamlessly. Um, and so lots more kind of coming up there. I'm excited about the speed with which we're developing things, and I think you know you should expect between now and kind of the end of the summer for Pro to become really, really full featured. But a lot of stuff will be shipping every week, essentially. And in that vein, we've got today uh, a, a thing to demo and a thing to announce that I'm really excited about. So the thing to demo is one of the things we've most gotten requests for, is the having the ability to do a pop-up to collect newsletters, to collect email addresses. So, we all know that email marketing is one of the best way to sell books, and it's the reason that we began with mailing functionality as kind of a core part of the Pro Plan. And today we're launching this pop-up, and I am going to uh, try and demo it. So let's see. I will actually start with, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to start with uh, an existing author website where we have already implemented it. So let's see. And then I will give a quick, then I will give, so let me first share my screen. All right, so this is an existing author website, and you'll see when I go, it looks normal. And as I'm scrolling down, I should get, there you go. Uh, so I immediately get a pop-up and I can sign up. Um, and, if I go Sebastian at tertulia.com, and I go pop up and I'll get this. In this case, they've also added a reader magnet to it. So I've gotten an email as well where, kind of welcoming me to the mailing list and the download link. And importantly, so I'll now X out of this. If I come back to the site again, I'm going to reload it. Of course, we literally put this out this morning, so hopefully there will not be any bugs. But it should not pop up again because I've already signed up. So yes, it looks like so far so good. Um, and I will show quickly on from the editor perspective how you can uh, kind of the functionality you have. So here is a demo site for a writer friend. And if we go to the design section, and you've got this sign up pop up if you are on Pro. And if you click into it, you see that you've got quite a bit of kind of options. So you can choose to use a text from the email pop-ups, from the email sign-up section by default, but I can also set my own specific, sign up for the best newsletter ever. Um, and for the headline, and I promise not to spam you, and will write once a week, usually on Sundays. So you can see kind of like the preview there. You can change the text color. You can change the button. So like, there it's confirm. Um, you can even, you can choose whether you want um, the first three books or if you want a custom book selection. Um, you can choose even a custom image, so to upload your own image. You can choose the background, uh, and you can even pick, do you want it to show up after 5 seconds, or do you want it to show up after scrolling down a bit, which is something sometimes people don't like the kind of, I get there and I'm immediately kind of bombarded with a pop-up. So sometimes people say like, oh, let's just do it after kind of scrolling down a bit. But really, yeah, excited to have this out. Mauricio, one of our engineers, has been hard at work and I think really went all out to give it all the kind of bells and whistles. And of course, like everything on Tertulia, it works well on mobile or desktop, etc. Um, before I move on, any questions there?
So is this only available on the Pro version?
It is only available on the Pro version. It is only available on the Pro version.
Hmm.
Any any other questions?
Is there a link that you could send us so we can join?
So you can join absolutely. Ilea will put that in. but it is just authors.tertulia.com. And all you do is, start with, if you have a book, you can start in by just adding your ISBN. If you have an Instagram account, we can get your picture from there, so you can add that handle. If not, you can add your own picture. And your first version of the website, you can have it created, and if you want live, if you subscribe within minutes. And then, of course, there is tons of customization that you can do as well.
That's great. That's great. That's
Any
great.
any other questions
I don't know what
related?
I'm on.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is Romeo from South Africa. I wanted to find out how do you, because obviously with I think one of the colleagues is asking in terms of the using the free version, so you don't really get to see much of the functionality until you subscribe. So how do you handle payment that then converts to, for example, USD to ZAR, Euro, and stuff like that for localization?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, you actually do get to, so the account that I just showed, I'm just going to share my screen again. So this account here is actually in trial mode. And so you can see that, I'm just going to get rid of this, but you can see that I actually can fully preview this site, and the buttons will work to go and check out my book. All the book pages will work, where we've also imported some reviews as well. There's like the about page for the author. So all this stuff, and this is just very basic. Like all I've put in is an ISBN and an Instagram. But so you can actually, and you can play around with the design, and you can try the pop-ups, and you can start seeing, if you go to the books section, uh, you can see like the sell direct functionality. So there is a lot of functionality there that you can actually play with before you've subscribed. But to your question about international specifically, so we don't yet support e-commerce sales outside of the US, but that is coming. And my expectation, and please don't hold me to it, but my expectation is that within the next month, it will be available. So we are actively working on kind of making that possible. I don't know the answer to your question of how currency conversion works, if you will be able to select an alternate currency, if that will happen automatically, etc. More to come on that, but we are actively working on international support for e-commerce specifically. We do have a lot of authors who use us for non-e-commerce internationally. And so that's something that you can do right now. You can sign up for the basic plan or the pro plan. There's some people internationally who are signed up for pro anyways, A, because e-commerce is coming, and B, because they want the mailer functionality right now, which obviously works everywhere. But I expect in June, hopefully around mid-June, to have international support for e-commerce. Anything else on that before I continue?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Mohammed Rashadi out of Idaho. I have a basic plan, and I'm still working with it before I move on to the pro. Any suggestion how much I can capitalize on the basic plan right now? Because it is costing me over $100, but I'm not really capitalizing it as much as I
Yeah.
should. So,
So I mean, I think the best advice, and I'll let Ilea jump in if she has thoughts as well. But I think what the intention of the standard plan is that you can fully customize your site and make it, seem kind of as professional as possible. And so that then all the marketing that you do around your books, or when you are reaching out, if you're traditionally published or you're trying to be traditionally published and you're reaching out to agents or publishers, or, if you're doing email newsletters with some other platform like MailerLite or whatever it might be, that you have a good landing experience where people can come and learn more about your books and learn more about who you are as an author, etc. And so that should help to kind of, deepen the relationship and the connection you have to your author, to your readers. And so I would say it's really about that, just making the site kind of as full-fledged as possible, using the blog functionality, so that you can, keep in communication with your readers, making sure that if you have reviews or, if you have more rich information about your books, that you're uploading all that information.
Sebastian, if I could add to just what you said and
Of
maybe answer
course.
his question a little cleaner. Um, so I'm an independent author. What I love about Tertulia is that it is, like Sebastian says, it's a landing page. When you put your books on Amazon or any other platform where you're selling your books, you're going to get lost among the shuffle, among the socks, among everything else. What Tertulia allows you to do is bring your readers directly to you and to create a solid relationship between you and your readers. Now, with the basic plan, you're going to get some of the features that you need that he mentioned that are going to help you build that relationship. And you can still use Amazon and all the other sites to send people out to go purchase your books. The DTC component, direct to consumer, the ability to sell directly from Tertulia and the Pro plan changes your game entirely. It keeps most of the purchase price, the rewards, the royalties in your pocket. Yes, it is a little more expensive, and I wouldn't say jump there until you're ready, but to utilize that basic site that you're paying for, you have to think of it as a landing site where you're capturing the attention of your readers and keeping them focused on you and you alone. Because if they go out to Amazon, and I can tell you from 20 years of experience, they're going to get lost among the noise in Amazon and probably never buy your book. So Tertulia offers you a chance to build that relationship. And I've seen that relationship built right when I launched my regular site with Tertulia. I ran a small advert for a special edition of one of my books through social media, and I sold 200 books in less than 2 days, which I would have never done that, through Amazon. So it's all about
That's
bringing people directly to you and establishing a relationship. That's really
Thank
what it's
you.
about.
Thank you very much. That is wonderful. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hearing Scarlett saying, all my ads point to Tertulia. And so, yes, it's kind of controlling, a website more than any platform is something you fully own and where, every part of the experience you can control. And anyone whose email you have, you now own that relationship going forward. So, for example, if you then go on to start selling directly, I can tell you that the conversion rate on a per email basis compared to social media followers is dramatically higher. Probably on the order of 10x better for each email you have versus a social media follower. You don't even know nowadays where you are going to show up and if you are going to show up in someone's feed, even if they follow you. Whereas in an email, you're controlling when you send, how much you send, etc. That said, I saw a comment, I haven't sold books yet, etc. And, the web is a big place. And so there is no kind of magic of you put up a website and people will just come. It really is part of the beginning is having that landing page, and it is a necessary part, but it is not sufficient. The next part is how do you get people there with emails, with social media, with any campaigns in-person events, etc., where you're giving people information about your website to get them back there, or asking them to sign up for a newsletter that then you send on a regular basis. So that kind of engaging audience is really important. So I'm going to move on now to a couple of other things. So one is I'll announce one more thing that we will launch next week. I think it's looking like Tuesday, but not sure yet. But we are going to launch the ability to do a custom favicon. So for people who may not be aware, the favicon is what shows up on your website at when you see you open up a website and you see the little tag. Maybe I'll share my screen just to show it. So I'm going to share my whole desktop here. And if you see here, so that's the Amazon favicon. And this is over here is the favicon for the Tertulia book editor, for the editor for the website. This is the favicon for Tertulia, and this is the favicon for Google. So it's this tiny 16 by 16 thing, which is allows people, if they have many tabs open, which if you're like me, you have too many tabs open all the time, it allows you to kind of quickly find your page again. And it's just part of having kind of a more cohesive brand. And especially people on the Pro plan are often asking us for kind of every part of how they create a cohesive brand experience. And so that custom favicon is one more thing, and we'll launch the ability to also have some like kind of off-the-shelf favicons, but also the ability to have your own image that then gets like resized into a favicon. So yeah, excited to launch that as well. So that's coming next week. Let me this is like a good time to talk about something else that we are launching this weekend or on Monday. So one of the things, so we recently did a survey, and I suspect that some of you participated in it. We got many hundreds of responses. And one of the things that people ask us for constantly is more design variability. And so we are doing two things for that. One is we are adding, kind of more functionality that into the editor. So for example, I know one of the things that we've been getting a lot of asks about, and one of our engineers is starting to work on, is the ability to change font sizes. So that's the kind of design related thing that will come. And because that's very design related, that will be for all plans, basic and pro. But the other thing that we decided to do, and this is admittedly, we are testing this out and we will see how long it works, but I'm really excited. We will see whether we can kind of keep up and it makes sense for us to do it. But what we've decided to do is launch something called a glow up. And what it essentially does is it's going to be an offering, it's going to be a service with a one-time charge that will allow our customer service team and design team to essentially provide like individualized attention, working on your site directly, taking all the best practices of what we've learned, kind of makes the site as distinctive and beautiful as possible. So we'll include like creating a custom logo for you. based on, maybe your genre and your book color, your book covers, and kind of the colors you have. It'll include like kind of a banner. So kind of some of the more sophisticated functionality that a lot of people do on their own. But some people who either may not have the time or the technical inclination to do it, or they just want kind of someone to help them out. We've decided to offer this functionality. It will be, we're going to test this out over the month of May. It will be first come, first serve. We will send kind of at random to several hundred people and kind of to see what the take rate is and to kind of learn from it. And then we'll send it out to kind of more people. I'm pretty sure the pricing is going to be one-time fee of $59. There may be a separate kind of more comprehensive offering, which is going to be more geared to also like social media marketing and kind of more sophisticated use cases. But one way to think of the glow up, whether, if you're a new subscriber and you're like, hey, I really just want to kind of invest one time to have like the experts at Tertulia, people like Ilea and Angie and Bromi, who, kind of do, a once over on your website, and it will include the ability to, give feedback and get one round of revisions. Or it may be you've had your site for a while, but you've decided it's, you want to up your game and make it a little bit more distinctive, etc. And so that's another use case. So we haven't announced that anywhere else yet. Some of you should get an email in the next few days, and then assuming that it's going well, I expect that in the next week to 10 days, we should be able to offer that to everyone. But of course, we have to see kind of what the take rate is, because, this takes like meaningful time on the part of our team. And so we want to make sure that we have enough capacity to do it. But excited to be able to provide that extra kind of design and kind of personalization support. And yeah, looking forward to seeing kind of what some of those websites. And I think the email you'll see, we've done a few tests, and so you'll see in the email we send some like before and after shots of kind of what the website looks like. And just to be clear, this is functionality that is all in the editor. And so it is, we're not doing anything weird. Anything that you do, you will be able to then continue tweaking, etc. But it kind of gets you set up with kind of some of the more sophisticated design functionality. Any questions there before we continue?
I have one question. You mentioned, social media as part of, this process here in Tertulia. One of the things that I had mentioned on a prior call was the potentiality of some point being able to drag in like posts from like Instagram and stuff like that to kind of bring more unification between Tertulia and that. Now, I will say this glow up that you guys are bringing to the table, guys, just as a web designer and someone who's been doing this game for a long time, that price point that he just mentioned, that's pretty much a golden coin. I mean, you could spend thousands of dollars in website design with some professionals and still not get the website that you've seen. The team here at Tertulia, I've seen the sites that they've put their magic on, and it's amazing. So definitely when that comes up, consider it, because you want your site to differentiate between others, and you definitely want to have that personalization in your site. And coding is hard, and even with the tools, it's kind of difficult. But having this team, this particular team, work with you guys to get to that point, I'm telling you, that price point is very, very tasty. So I would definitely consider that when it comes out to bump your sites up. So
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And we've deliberately, in general, one of the things, we think all the time about Tertulia, at Tertulia, is just offering great value. I really want it to be like, hey, the last thing I will ever give up is my Tertulia subscription because it is just providing so much bang for the buck. And we know that, being an indie author, being an author, period, is hard work, and we're trying to provide tools that provide great value. So appreciate kind of that endorsement. And yes, like the very best thing we have, honestly, is just the amazing kind of customer success team and support team and kind of great designers. Like if you look at both the product and Tertulia.com, our bookstore site, um, I think it's like characterized by very high quality design. And so we are trying to bring, obviously a lightweight version of that. There's only so much that we can do at this price point, but I think people will find when they see the before and after shots of websites that it's pretty dramatic and quite compelling. So yeah, I'm really excited to see kind of how that works and to just like have a gallery of, I hope, like hundreds of websites that are just like improved in a meaningful way. So super excited about that. Keep an eye out for email. If there's someone here who, is like, oh, I think I definitely want to get this, and you might not be in the initial group, if you drop something into the comments, just like your email address, we can make sure that you're part of the initial group. I think that, there's maybe 100 people on this call or less, so we should be able to accommodate everyone here if someone wants to kind of be at the front of the line. So the next thing I wanted to talk about before we turn to Q&A is um, the is something which is more just kind of a request from me for our amazing community. And this is, as people may or may not be aware of, we have, and I'm just going to, let's see. Um, I want to, let's see if I can go into this 1 second to show exactly where it is. And then I will be able to show it as well as talk about it. Give me just 1 second. Okay, just one more second and it's coming up. Okay. Um, so, um, let's see. Oh, I just. Ilea, do you have um, a subscriber website there that you can pop up and show the referral program in?
Oh, yeah.
That would be great. So I'll start talking about it while Ilea pops it up. So essentially, as some of you probably know, because we spend a meaningful amount of money advertising on Meta and Facebook to essentially get the word out about Tertulia. Um, and what I really hate about doing that is that we are spending a meaningful amount of money that could be better spent on engineers to essentially reach more authors. And especially as we now have over 8,000 subscribers who are using uh, Tertulia, who are paying subscribers, I really wanted to just make a plea to all of you here to please, please consider inviting a friend if ILEA, if you click on there, you can see it's like a very simple, very standard kind of give one, get one program. So essentially, you share your invite link, or you can send them an email. And then if a writer friend of yours signs up, you will get 1 free month, and they will get 1 free month. And that just works whether you're monthly or annual. If you're annual, you'll we'll deduct, we'll discount your next annual renewal charge. If you're on a monthly plan, your next month will be free. And so it's kind of win-win. But the bigger thing, that's like, kind of a small inducement to hopefully encourage you to do it. But honestly, the biggest thing is, if we are spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on advertising, it's money that we could better spend on engineers and designers to give you guys more functionality faster. And so, I really hope if people will consider, just, if you've got, writers groups that you meet with, if you've got, writer friends, etc., please, 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 and if you're, happy with Tertulia and you think that we do a good job, please, please, please make a point of reaching out to them. I would love, if after this session today, we got some bump in kind of referrals, and everyone gets a free month or multiple ones if you send it to multiple people. But again, more importantly, it just allows us to give less money to Mark Zuckerberg, and put more money into developing the functionality and the roadmap, and the dozens of requests we get every month for kind of improved functionality. So that's the end of kind of my plea and advertising. I told Linda, if I'm getting to host one day, I'm going to talk about this. And she's like, don't overdo it. I probably did. But I do hope you will consider it. So thank you so much. And with that, we will open it up to questions. Feel free to, I think it's you raise your hand. I don't know how you do it, Ilea. And if they are questions that are more about how do I do this, we will let Ilea address them. And if there are questions more about kind of the future of Tertulia and what we're building, or suggestions for what we should build, etc., then I will probably take them. But yeah, feel free to jump in. We've got about 15 more minutes.
Yes, thank you. Romeo again from South Africa. So in terms of the IP security, where would the books be sitting? So if I load my PDF and image, where would it be sitting? And what form of protection or security do I have should, God forbid, Tertulia shuts down and I don't have access to my material anymore? That's number one. And number two, how many books can I load all at once?
So two things. To the first question of security, as with any company that's digital and online, you're always somewhat at the mercy of the company being in business. I can tell you, just based on how quickly we've grown, that I don't foresee us, kind of going out of business anytime. But certainly, if for some reason we were to shut down, we would obviously give people plenty of warning, and send them their assets or allow them to download their assets, etc. So that's one thing. And then, if it gives you any comfort, I founded Artsy, which is on artsy.net, in 2010. And that company, it's now 16 years later, and it's alive and well and thriving, and has almost 200 employees. And so we're hopefully going to be around a long time. And then, in terms of where they sit from a security perspective, so we use as our infrastructure AWS, like Amazon Web Services, which is kind of like the gold standard for kind of hosting like complex web products. And so there's a lot of kind of security built into that service, and as well that we take care to kind of add. So in general, I think it's pretty secure, and you should feel comfortable that's the case. Of course, nothing is absolutely foolproof, and we've all gotten those emails about like people kind of breaking into sites, etc. So there's no kind of absolute guarantees. But generally, I think people are more interested in breaking into like banks and other things than breaking in to steal like PDFs of books, for better or worse. People are still, robbing the banks because that's where the money is. So hopefully, we should be okay and, not as big a target. Um, Next question.
Phil was next.
Hey, Sebastian. So thanks again for everything that you guys do over there at Tertulia. Just, we need to thank them as much as we can because they're doing such a great job. My question, and I'll circle you back to that whole social media aspect with Instagram and a Tertulia kind of connector to pull over those posts at some point in the future.
Mhm.
I also did want to just kind of uh, piggyback on what you were saying about AWS. Guys, I actually have been in the IT space for 30 years and I've worked with AWS myself. It's very, very secure. And I agree with Sebastian. I think banks are more of a target than any of us authors, really. So I feel pretty confident in their security. I've looked at their website and I've been with them for, since almost the beginning. And I feel very, very confident that my stuff is protected. So, both as a reader, author, and as a technologist. So I really wouldn't worry too much about that.
I appreciate those words. Thank you. And noted on, I'm making a list of things that kind of come up, and the pooling in social media posts. I agree. Where you have like a little feed of like my most recent posts and stuff like that. That creates like a nice kind of cohesiveness, and kind of smooth, like organic flow between your platforms. So absolutely noted as kind of, as I always said, at Artsy and now at Tertulia, like almost all kind of reasonable ideas. It's a matter of when, not if. It's really about like just how do we prioritize all the different, kind of great requests that we get. Um, Ilea,
Yeah, Sandra
the
was next. Oh,
Sandra,
yes.
shoot.
Hi, I just wanted to talk about a couple of possible marketing kinds of ideas and so on. One is the idea of author exchange podcasts. And one of the things you had on the new site you showed today, which I really liked, was the idea of this featuring authors so that we could feature each other and do some cross-linking in that sense, which has been something in my memoir group that a lot of us have been doing for each other. I mean, one person just got a contract with Connor Smith, who's a big agent. And so we celebrated that and exchanged that and shared it across Facebook and so on. But I hate Facebook because it's so politically incorrect. It drives me up a wall. So, it would be really
Sandra,
nice.
I love, love, love that you are asking for this, because we've literally been building over the last 2 to 3 weeks a prototype. And, I'm like speaking slightly out of turn. I'm not supposed to like reveal things, but let's like call it CEO prerogative. The We've literally been building a prototype for doing author swaps on
Great.
Tertulia. And I think because the indie community has like such positive vibes and kind of great energy, I think it is so valuable. And it's like honestly one of the things I'm most excited to launch. And we are figuring out, frankly, and actually we can do a little poll right here. I don't, do you know how to do an actual poll,
I
Ilea?
think I can. Yeah.
So what I would love to hear is there is two different things that we're considering doing. And I think the answer is we're going to do both of them. But option one that you can vote for is an author swap where you are, you get recommended authors who are similar to you, or you can choose someone else that is also on Tertulia. And then we will take care of like, and you'll say like, this is the book I want to swap with. This is their book that I'm interested in putting in. And then it's a two-way opt-in and you both agree. And if you do, you both agree to put it in your next newsletter. And then when you do that, you land on each other's sites for, signing up for emails or selling the books or selling a chapter of a book or giving away a chapter of a book, etc. So that's like, let's call that author swap. And then the second kind of thing we're considering is a little more in the kind of like author promos, where it is a group page where an author says like, I write romantasy, and I want to do. Often these tend to be more like giveaways or discounts or like free chapters, and I'm going to put it on a page and then I'm going to invite other authors in the same category, like-minded, that might be interesting to a similar audience. And I'm going to ask them all to join the same kind of author promo. And the idea here is that all the authors here promote that one landing page that we create. And and it's kind of like seamless how you opt in your books would go in very easily from the Tertulia editor, right? Like our goal is always to have it be like kind of one-stop shop where you can do as much as possible, and where it's as seamless as possible. But in that case, all the authors kind of put it in, and when they send it out to their audiences, a reader comes and says like, oh, I have 8 different romantasy books and authors that I can discover, and I can sign up or get the promo, etc. So one of them is kind of the author promos. That's the second one I spoke about, which is many authors on one landing page that page would be somewhere on tertulia.com. And then the first one is the author swaps, where it's 2 authors who both choose kind of a specific book they want to promote in their newsletters, and then that lands on the individual author's website. In both cases, even if it's the multi-author page, we would set it up so if someone is interested in your book, as always, not only do they get that book, but they can give you their email address if they so choose to do that as well, so you can get all that information.
Another thing, Sebastian, could we do book reviews of other authors on our pages? I'm a book reviewer. I do 3 or 4 magazines, and essentially that would be another way of saying, hey, this is certified by another writer, not just,
someone else.
somebody.
Yeah, I like that idea too. I've just written it down. I haven't thought about that too much before, and I'm like, is there a way, because we already have a review section, so I'm like, could there be an interesting way to just allow other authors, like almost like it's kind of like in LinkedIn for people who use that, where you like ask someone for kind of like a testimonial about your
Right,
work with them,
exactly.
etc.
Big
Then you
deal.
could choose to feature it. Yeah, I'm making a note. That's cool. I like it. Thank you for the idea.
I use my blog for that, but it doesn't stand out.
No, exactly. It's like, and that's always a good sign when people are like hacking some solution, and then we can make it kind of seamless and work well.
And it's good for publication, for blurbs, because then instead of driving yourself crazy with, oh, I know they like me, I've been working on this, and I've given them a blurb, and then this way we can help
Fantastic.
each other.
Yeah, no, I love that. So this definitely very excited about this kind of author cross promotion. So thank you all for kind of votes and input on that. And that's probably in kind of like the next month-ish time frame, I would say. Like where we've got on the author swap, we've already got like quite a bit of the design done. We have to figure out which one comes out and which order, that kind of stuff. I know we had some questions. I'm trying to see if there's any questions that are kind of relevant that we got beforehand.
It's
Um,
talked about international. I saw a couple of those. International
yeah, there's
e-commerce.
someone asking about like, I want my website to be kind of more differentiated. How do I do that? The glow up might be one way. You can also kind of write in one kind of hack that I always mention to everyone is like, make use of like custom banners on your website. I think that kind of goes a long way. Really dig into the design section and, your colors, your fonts, etc. But and if you want kind of help with it, hopefully this glow up service will allow people to do that. Someone asking about smaller font sizes, a perpetual request, and something that one of the engineers is working on now. So hopefully that's coming soon. Uh, and then there is a question. Uh, there's a question about two things. One, how to add an Audible book to the website. I don't know, Ilea, if you know what's the something
Yeah.
that people can do there.
Ralph, if you're here, I know you have a pro account. So if you're selling the book directly and you upload the audio file, if it's an MP3 or MP4, when they click on that email that gives them the book, it should allow them to choose to open it in Audible if they have Audible. And you can actually put that in the description of the book so they also know they can download that app to use it to hear your book.
Thanks, Ilea. And then
Yep.
the other question is people asking, is there a template I can use to create posts to advertise on social media? So two things there. I think, and we haven't fully finalized it, but I think this kind of more like pro version of the glow up that we'll come out with. I think the kind of pro version of it where the price point will be one something, I'm not sure. The there, I think it will include some social media assets as well. And so that might be an option for you kind of coming up. Okay, we've got one
Next
more
was
minute. Anyone else?
Andrea had one.
Yeah, a question about the customer service that's going to be launching soon. Is that going to be a group thing or is that going to be a one-on-one?
So there will be a form that you fill out where we ask you a bunch of information, and then we will work on it on our end. And then the person who's been assigned to you to work on it, so whether it's like Ilea or Angie or Rami, and then with some oversight from Ines, who is one of our designers, will come back to you and say, like, it's live, like take a look, send us any feedback, and then we'll do a turn. So there isn't a live conversation. We just couldn't scale it at that price point if it was. But you will be able to give feedback and kind of interact via email with the team.
Got it. Thank you.
Of course. And yes, someone is asking, do we host these every week? Yes. And in fact, usually my co-founder, Linda, who is a lot more charming and fun than I am, does them. So look for her next week.
And Marlon has a question too.
Yeah. Hi guys. My
Hi.
main question is, when will non-US authors be able to sell directly to their readers?
Yes. So someone asked that at the beginning, and I
Okay.
said, please don't hold me to it, but my goal is by mid-June.
Okay.
So about a month from now.
All right.
We are actively working on it. I've seen kind of the plans. We've been working through kind of the details, etc. But it's coming soon. We're getting a lot of demand for it, so I'm excited to do that.
And then just the last point, I'm in the trial phase at the moment, but I'm already sold because of I've spoken to quite a few authors actually using it, and it's only forthcoming. One thing that keeps saying though is that once they sign up, they get bombarded with spam emails. Is there anything that you're planning to stop that?
It's a great question. So we have added some spam protection. So I don't know if you've spoken with someone very recent or kind of older experience, but we've added some spam protection so that you don't get as much that gets through. And then we are actually going to survey people and kind of start measuring. And we were thinking of adding an optional kind of CAPTCHA to kind of make it even harder for people to get through. So, that's always something that once you put like an email address out onto the internet, people can discover you, which is the good thing, but the bad thing is that people can discover you. So we are dealing with it already somewhat. So I know it's better than it used to be, but we will, make it better with a CAPTCHA as well.
Okay, thanks a lot. That's it from me. Cheers.
Okay. So I think we're already a couple of minutes over. So if anyone else has questions, please feel free to send them in to authors at tertulia.com. And of course, always happy to answer them. Thank you all for the great questions, insights, feedback. Really, really appreciate it. Next week, tell Linda I did a good job so I don't get into trouble. And really, really appreciate everyone, your support. It really is inspiring to, just have this incredible community and to be able to build, kind of software to help you guys kind of establish your presence and do marketing and sales. And I'm super excited as we've got so many foundational pieces in place. And now that we can really start to add a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of things such as like cross-promotional tools and stuff like that. So yeah, I think the best is yet to come. I'm really, really excited, especially for those cross-promotional things in the next month or two. So thank you all again. Have a great rest of the afternoon and great weekend. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a great
nice
weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great
Bye, everyone. Thank you.